ever forget one thing. Jesus belongs to Africa.
Elon Musk has recently stirred controversy by claiming that Jesus was black, providing what he considers proof to back up his assertion. This claim challenges centuries of traditional depictions of Jesus as a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed figure. Musk points to biblical passages, such as the Book of Daniel and the Book of Revelation, which describe Jesus with features that align more closely with African descent. For instance, Daniel describes Jesus' hair as like pure wool, and Revelation mentions his feet as like burnished bronze, suggesting darker skin tones. Biblical evidence supporting a black Jesus. The Bible does not explicitly state Jesus' race or skin color, but it provides clues about his physical appearance. In Revelation 1:14-15, Jesus is described as having hair white like wool and feet like burnished bronze. These descriptions have led scholars like Joan Taylor, author of What Did Jesus Look Like?, to argue that Jesus likely had dark brown hair and olive skin, resembling modern-day Middle Easterners. However, the description of burnished bronze suggests a darker complexion, more consistent with African ancestry. Additionally, Daniel 10:5-6 describes a vision of Jesus with arms and legs like the gleam of burnished bronze, further emphasizing a darker skin tone. The consistency of these descriptions across different biblical texts has led some to conclude that Jesus was likely a black man, not the fair-skinned figure often depicted in Western art. Historical misrepresentation of Jesus' image. The traditional image of Jesus as a white man with European features emerged during the Renaissance, when artists began depicting biblical figures in ways that reflected their own cultural norms. This shift in representation has persisted for centuries, leading many to accept the white Jesus as the standard. However, historical evidence suggests that early depictions of Jesus showed him with darker skin and woolly hair, more consistent with the descriptions found in the Bible. The oldest known image of Jesus, discovered in Syria and dating back to 235 AD, portrays him with short woolly hair and dark skin. This contrasts sharply with the westernized image of Jesus that became dominant during the colonial period. The spread of Christianity by European powers further cemented the image of a white Jesus, which was used to justify colonialism and slavery. The role of Constantine and the whitewashing of Christianity. Some historians argue that the whitewashing of Jesus' image began with Emperor Constantine, who made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire in the 4th century. Constantine's influence led to the suppression of black images of Jesus and the promotion of a more Europeanized version of Christianity. However, this claim is debated, as black images of Jesus and other biblical figures persisted in Eastern Orthodox and Coptic Christian traditions. In fact, black icons of Jesus and the saints have been preserved in Orthodox churches, particularly in Russia and Ethiopia. These icons depict Jesus and Mary with darker skin tones, challenging the notion that Constantine completely erased black representations of biblical figures. The preservation of these icons highlights the multicultural origins of Christianity and the diversity of its early followers. The implications of a black Jesus. The misrepresentation of Jesus' race has had profound implications for how Christianity has been understood and practiced. The image of a white Jesus has been used to reinforce white supremacy, particularly during the colonial era and the transatlantic slave trade. By presenting Jesus as white, slaveholders and colonial powers were able to justify their actions and maintain control over marginalized groups. The appropriation of Jesus' image has also had a psychological impact, particularly on people of color. When the image of God is consistently portrayed as white, it can lead to feelings of inferiority among non-white communities. Recognizing Jesus as a black man challenges these narratives and affirms the value and dignity of black people. Reclaiming the true image of Jesus. There is a growing movement to reclaim the true image of Jesus as a black man. This movement is not just about correcting historical inaccuracies, but also about challenging the systems of oppression that have been built on the false image of a white Jesus. By embracing a black Jesus, Christians can honor the diversity of God's creation and affirm the worth of all people, regardless of race. The evidence from the Bible, historical artifacts, and early Christian art all point to the likelihood that Jesus was a black man. This realization has the power to transform how we understand Christianity and its message of liberation and justice. As we continue to explore the true identity of Jesus, we must also confront the ways in which his image has been used to perpetuate inequality and division. The cultural and theological impact of a Black Jesus. The idea of a Black Jesus is not just a historical or anthropological curiosity. It has deep theological and cultural implications. For many Black Christians, the image of a Black Jesus is a source of empowerment and affirmation. It challenges the Eurocentric narrative that has dominated Christianity for centuries and offers a more inclusive vision of the faith. In Black theology, the concept of a Black Jesus is central to understanding God's solidarity with the oppressed. Jesus' identification with the marginalized and his experience of suffering and injustice resonate deeply with the Black experience. By reclaiming Jesus as a Black man, Black theologians argue that Christianity can be a powerful force for liberation and social justice. The global perspective on Jesus' race. The debate over Jesus' race is not confined to the United States or Europe. In Africa, Asia, and Latin America, Christians have long depicted Jesus in ways that reflect their own cultural and racial identities. In Ethiopia, for example, icons of Jesus and the saints have traditionally shown them with African features. Similarly, in Latin America, Jesus is often depicted as mestizo, reflecting the mixed heritage of the region. These diverse representations of Jesus highlight the universality of his message and the ability of Christianity to transcend cultural and racial boundaries. They also challenge the notion that there is only one correct way to depict Jesus, emphasizing instead the importance of context and cultural relevance. The role of art and media in shaping perceptions. Art and media have played a significant role in shaping perceptions of Jesus' race. From Renaissance paintings to Hollywood films, the image of a white Jesus has been perpetuated and reinforced. However, there have been efforts to challenge this narrative. Films like The Color of the Cross and Son of God have depicted Jesus as a Black man, sparking important conversations about race and representation. In recent years, there has been a growing demand for more diverse and inclusive representations of biblical figures in art and media. This shift reflects a broader cultural movement towards recognizing and celebrating diversity, and it has the potential to transform how we understand and relate to the stories of the Bible. The psychological impact of a white Jesus. The psychological impact of a white Jesus cannot be understated. For centuries, the image of a white Jesus has been used to reinforce notions of white superiority and Black inferiority. This has had a profound effect on the self-esteem and identity of Black people, particularly in societies where white supremacy has been institutionalized. By reclaiming Jesus as a Black man, Black Christians are able to affirm their own worth and dignity. This act of reclamation is not just about correcting a historical inaccuracy. It is about challenging the systems of oppression that have been built on the false image of a white Jesus. It is about affirming that Black lives matter and that Black people are made in the image of God. The psychological effects on Black communities. The pervasive image of a white Jesus has had significant psychological effects on Black communities. When the image of God is consistently portrayed as white, it can lead to internalized racism, where Black individuals begin to see themselves as inferior. This phenomenon is particularly damaging in religious contexts, where the image of Jesus is central to worship and spiritual identity. For many Black Christians, the white Jesus has been a source of cognitive dissonance. On one hand, they are taught to love and worship Jesus, but on the other hand, the image of Jesus they are presented with does not reflect their own racial identity. This disconnect can lead to feelings of alienation and a sense that they do not fully belong in their own faith tradition. The role of the church in promoting racial justice. The church has a crucial role to play in promoting racial justice and reconciliation. By embracing a more inclusive and diverse representation of Jesus, the church can challenge the systems of oppression that have been built on the false image of a white Jesus. This includes addressing issues of racial inequality within the church itself and working towards a more just and equitable society. The church must also confront its own complicity in the perpetuation of white supremacy. This includes acknowledging the ways in which the church has been used to justify slavery, colonialism, and segregation. By doing so, the church can begin to heal the wounds of the past and work towards a more inclusive and just future. A call to re-examine history. Elon Musk's claim that Jesus was black has sparked an important conversation about the historical and cultural representation of one of the most influential figures in human history. While the debate over Jesus' race may continue, the evidence suggests that the traditional image of a white Jesus is a misrepresentation. By re-examining the biblical texts and historical artifacts, we can begin to uncover the true identity of Jesus and challenge the narratives that have been used to oppress and marginalize people of color. What do you think about the idea of Jesus being black? Who do you believe is responsible for the misrepresentation of his race? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this discussion enlightening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.